Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the NPC Reviews. Now, don't mind us, we're securing some books in light of a pending stellar phenomenon. Because we're friends. And if we don't, the DMs where our tomes might run amok. Because we live together, hang out, and, real friends help friends move books. Oh, that. Well, that's a thing that happens every now and again, and we can find out about both in today's episode of The Owl House, Episode 7, Lost in Language, or The Dangers of Fanfiction. Our story continues with Luz actively reading to King when she shares a dearest wish.
Azora is able to befriend everyone, even her biggest rival. I wish I had that kind of power.
Rivals are meant to be annihilated, not befriended. Now keep reading. I've been sucked into your awful fandom.
Poor Dogface. Just wait till he's called to his first ship in war. This is interrupted by a knock and a delivery. Ida's got a basket, but it's not the tribute she was expecting. So that's where King gets it. Turns out it's a baby with a note.
Yeah, but turn it over! There's a letter!
You're right.
It's a babysitting job. Ida is less than willing, but money motivates, and the Bat Queen is the demon with the most money in the Boiling Isles, so Ida agrees, as does Luz. However, Ida needs Luz to return some overdue books in order to cut her out. Apprentice stuff, but it turns out to bite her in the bum.
On second thought, maybe we could use your help!
Well, I better get to the library. Gotta go, bye!
Oh no, the consequences of her actions. Heh. Luz makes her way to the library. Do you even read, bro? And is taken in as you might expect, as the books are taken in themselves. The librarian is adding fees to Ida's tab when he explains,
"By the way, we're closing early for the Wailing Star meteor shower."
And wanting to know more, runs off into the library. A montage of the wonders of a magical library ensues, while also showing that some issues persist across worlds when she is caught.
What do you think you're doing? I've been caught! Pretend to be a book!
But no, she's not. Wait a second. Get learned at the stake. This implies they also have a tradition of burning people at the stake. But that doesn't give anyone else permission to do it as well. That's right. What? It turns out Amity is reading to children.
So bookmaker Odabin's surrounded by friends, bound a book of friendship, and that's the end.
And Luz gets an idea.
Maybe I can befriend her like Azora befriended her rival.
Luz is spotted and Amity is not pleased. She tries to join Amity's activity, but Amity is having none of it, for a not unwarranted reason.
But every time you come near me, I get in trouble. Just leave me alone!
Luz walks off dejectedly when some new faces enter to grab her attention. Turns out they're the cooler, older siblings of Amity. They tell her to stop being a jerk to her friend, but she angrily corrects them on Luz's status, and then they lay on the charm.
Yeah, makes sense. She seems too cool for you.
I am?
Oh my. After that, they introduce themselves as Amira and Edric, and remind Luz of her previous embarrassment of Amity at school and the convention, which Luz laments. To cheer her up, the twins invite Luz on a prank montage. Woo! After breaking Gary one too many times, they get kicked out. After a laugh, Luz laments she's even more distant from Amity now, and Amira invites Luz to join them tonight because
There's a certain book we forgot to check out.
And bonus, rumor has it the Wailing Star is supposed to unlock some rare magical event. You in?
Luz agrees, excited.
First I befriend the siblings, then I befriend the Amity.
But Amity, skulking in the shadows, enters angry tomato mode. Meanwhile, the baby's sonic attacks are super effective, and at the limit of their expertise, Ida resorts to maternal gestures to calm the batling. Shocking, I know. Just then, Luz returns on cloud, let's call it 7. After complimenting Ida's motherliness and cooing herself at the baby, it turns out the baby is part Russian, because they were matryoshkiing their siblings, and now they reveal they're also fire types. After that good job, Luz escapes and the batlings rampage. Later at the library, Luz frets trying to get her cool on. Between wanting to befriend Amity and wanting to impress the twins, you could say Luz is down blight for that family. Anyway, despite Amira and Edric finding Luz's attempts amusing, they want to get in the library. And with a little bit of magic, they commit trespassing. Yeah, life goals. And as they enter, the Wailing Star makes its pass, seemingly with no effect, but give it a second, and the magic starts to appear. The books come to life, giving them the bird, beginning another, ending with Luz finding Amity's Odabin book. Oh, did you get that book of uncaring magic back?
Stop! You don't care. They don't care.
At that time, the Batlings continue to rampage long past their bedtimes. At their limit, they consider ideas.
What if we invent a TV network for ages 6 to 11?
And Ida does the unthinkable. Goes full parental mode, beginning story time. Back at the bookery, Luz reads more when the twins have a discovery. They can alter books and the manifestations, and with a little bit of peer pressure and a hand from Edric, Odabin gets the same treatment. But that's not important right now. The twins take Luz to the romance section, and after some awkward if you're into it, I'm to it banter, they reveal Amity's secret room. I know Tremere who would kill for a haven like this. I would probably do some light stabbing. Anyway, the twins have a plan.
Mittens has gotten too full of herself. She keeps tattling on us when we cut class.
She needs to learn not to mess with people like that. So we're going to find her diary.
And then post the pages all around school for everyone to see.
But they have a good reason.
No, see, we're her family. It's tough love. She needs to learn to lighten up.
Luz isn't into this, but is quickly distracted by her favorite fandom, the Good Witch Azura, and in so doing finds Amity's diary. Dun dun dun. And we get a little more insight into Amity.
I don't want to come off as cruel, I just can't show weakness.
Luz tries to hide it, but Edric spots the diary and Amira takes it. In their excitement, Luz tries to convince them.
No one deserves this. These are private thoughts.
They fight over the jeopardized journal, damage ensuing when Amity arrives in full tomato mode. After snapping at the twins, she calmly lays into Luz.
I've been trying to figure out what your deal is. Are you a poser? A nerd? I know. You're a bully, Luz.
Shouting would have been preferable. Anyway, the twins are satisfied and invite Luz to go goblin tipping, but she wants to make amends to Amity. Still thinking Luz is cool, they bid her a flirtatious farewell. Catching up with Amity, she tries to explain, but Amity is still angry when fanfiction Odabin attacks.
I found a friend to make my own.
After absconding with Amity, he begins scrapping her while she attempts to appeal to him.
I know you're not like this. Someone changed you.
But friends are what I've always sought, and now a friend my claws have caught.
Luz attempts to use the magic of the Wailing Star to power up and defeat Odabin to no avail, and also gets the scrapbook treatment. Still thinking on her feet, they flip the book and make a getaway, which leads to a bonding moment of real friendship. Ladies, escape now, friendship later. On cue, they are interrupted by Odabin and drawn back. Luckily, Amity doesn't have weak nerd arms or legs and manages to escape, unlike Luz, who is quickly becoming a two-dimensional character. Amity sets books to ramming speed, disabling Odabin and using the Wailing Star's magic. Amity and Luz restore Odabin to his previous characterization. Then, with gentle hugs, they close the book on this encounter. So after cleanup, Amity tries to put all this behind her, but Luz offers an olive branch, which prompts reflection.
Maybe you aren't a bully. I haven't exactly been the friendliest witch either. I'll think on that.
Baby steps. Luz returns home seeing Ida, King, and the Batlings have also bonded. So Mama shows up, collects the kids, and delivers the money, plus a favor for Ida's many troubles. Ida wakes up feeling sad at the departure of the babies, and Luz caps things off with something to help. Well, that was actually a lot. There's a lot set up here, primarily for the characters. As such, while this is primarily a Luz and Amity focused episode, we do get to see the progress of our dear Ida and King. Ida reveals more of her parental side, much to her surprise, and this is very likely Luz's influence. There's a lot of overlap between mentor and parent, at least at these ages, and found family is a big theme here. Ida's progression to Owl Mom continues. King is also an influence, but the nature of their relationship isn't entirely clear at this point, so Luz's influence takes prominence. As for King, it's good to see the bonding from the intruder sticking and expanding, because hey, if you can't find other people in your fandom, induct the people you know. As for Luz, we see she's still a bit in the clouds. There's nothing wrong with being inspired or guided by your favorite fictional works, but assuming things will work out narratively generally leads to complications and heartache. So she's still learning, but things are starting to stick. Learning requires practice after all. Then there is Amity. We learn a lot about her. Her home life is definitely lacking. When kids are overpressured, the two likely responses are acting out, as Amira and Edric do, or trying to live up to expectations.
I don't want to come off as cruel, I just can't show weakness.
Including selling out your siblings. Less attention is less pressure after all. This all paints a picture of a frustrated girl trying to get by in an unhealthy manner that leaves her prone to a kind of lashing out. But her softer side is present and can peek through when allowed to. An interesting thing about Amira and Edric is how much they share Amity's mindset. Sure, they respond differently to the home life, but they genuinely thought their prank was for Amity's own good, much like how Amity thought her condescension and outstaging towards others were for their own good. What's also interesting is how they don't bode Luce any ill will after she leaves them for Amity. Unlike the typical trickster archetype, they do seem genuinely affable. They could have easily been made into the evil, sadistic older siblings, and it's good to see that they're not. While the characters are the main focus, the world also leaves one wondering. More Earth parallels show up, from similar library structures to the love of watching animals doing cute things. But the question of how much is crossover, like with the Azura books, and how much is parallel development. Obviously there has to be some similarities to help ground Luce and the audience in the world. Also, the similarities help contrast the differences, but this does leave me wondering what the in-universe mechanics of it is. As for the Boiling Isles itself, learning more about them is always fun, especially the plurality of magic. The Wailing Star, is it a phenomenon based on a celestial body interacting with the magic witches gather in their bile sacs, or is it a source of magic on its own like the moon? I'm personally inclined to say the latter, as it doesn't seem to act by the rules of everyday magic of the Isles. Also, what was going on elsewhere in the Isles when books were coming to life? Was there a woman sitting down with her Boiling Isles Harlequin romance novel when BAM!
We've just won the Battle of Knickerbulge!
Let us all doff our clothes in triumph.
All of this suggests a multifaceted nature to magic that, even if you don't take the coven limits into consideration, doesn't seem to be explored much by the populace. I find this intriguing and would like to know more. Now for the themes. There are two big ones. The first is a matter of boundaries. Boundaries are important, naturally, and one should not be afraid to voice their concerns when those boundaries are crossed, or nearly so. This applies to peer pressure like Luce and the twins, but also applies to family. Especially with family, there might be fewer boundaries between family members, but no one can hurt you like family can. So always be mindful of your lines as well as the lines of others. The bigger theme here is friendship. Luce wants to befriend her rival, and is so caught up in the image of that she forgets that friendship cannot be forced. It has to grow naturally. The use of Odoben to externalize this lesson was a good choice, and helps tie it to Amity without feeling like it's forcing her out of character, or having Luce do something so annoying or line crossing that would set the friendship too far back to be believable later. Good job! On first glance, one could get distracted by the shenanigans of the twins and the character drama of Luce and Amity, and not realize this episode does a lot of heavy lifting. It expands the world of the Boiling Isles with the Bat Queen, the library, and magic phenomenon. The family dynamics of the Blights is explored, and overall we learn of the buried sides of some of the characters. All of this along with an important reminder on the nature of friendship. There's a lot going on here, and it's important both now and for later. So give this episode a watch, and make sure your attempts at friendship don't potentially cause trauma. Until next time, fare thee well, my lovelies.